Now, okay, this is a new slot for the show, and I need people to come on each week and share their views with me. To start the fans' views segment it's long-term Setanta and BBC London 94.9 fan Doug Matthews. He's from Sligo in Ireland, and he has gone for Sean Mannion. I started by asking Doug for his memories of Sean.
My first memory is my grandfather telling me about Sean Mannion, because I was only a lad at 14 when Sean fought for the world title against McCallum.
Was that actually on TV in Ireland? Can you remember, or was it on radio?
I don't remember if it was on TV, but I mean, I seen the VHS afterwards. But it was on radio, and it was. But I don't think it was on TV, and that's one of the points that I have about Sean, is that he wasn't really covered that much by Irish media at all, But he never actually fought in Ireland, did he? As a pro, he fought in a place called Belfast, somewhere in the USA, but he never fought. He never fought in Ireland. Yeah. He fought mainly in Boston, I think.
Yeah. So in front of lots of Irishmen. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Lots of Irish who were working on building sites and stuff over there along with him.
So he was popular in that sense. He lost to McCallum over 15 rounds, and that was about the same time that Barry McGuigan, the king and hero of all Ireland, was fighting the very ancient Eusebio Pedrosa.
Yeah. I think there was about 6 months in between the two world title fights. Yeah. And at the time, Jesus, Ireland was absolutely McGuigan crazy. There was flags everywhere. There was, even at church on the Sunday before Barry fought for his world title fight, the priest was making everybody pray for Barry. Imagine that.
And no one was making you pray for Sean Mannion?
Nobody even mentioned him. Yeah, nobody mentioned him at all. But now he did have his huge following over in Boston, where he was fighting a lot. But back at home, there wasn't really much talk about him at the time at all. Do
you see him now, Doug?
I seen Sean, about 3 years ago in person. He was up here. Sugar Ray Leonard came to visit Sligo about 3 years ago, and himself and Steve Collins were here, and I got to spend a little bit of time with the both of them. And they used to spar an awful lot in Boston, the two of them together, and they were telling me about that. But I speak to a couple of times on the phone as well, aside from that.
That was Doug Matthews there talking about Sean Mannion. Now, I like this little slot, and I need you next week. Tell me about anything that you have loved or hated about boxing. It's your fans' view. Now, you can make contact, simple contact with it, steve.bunce@bbc.co.uk. I'll be in touch next Thursday to let you know about next Thursday night. You can also get me on any of the boxing websites, BoxRec, Eastside Boxing, Doghouse, even Go Through Boxing. Seen any of them that you like to contact, you can do. Now, Sean Mannion, you heard his name mentioned there. He should be an Irish boxing great. I mean that. He's a legend with boxing people, but he deserves to be much better known in both Britain and Irish boxing. That's what I think. Sean fought most of his 57 fights in America. His finest hour, 15 rounds to be precise, was in 1984 when he lost a vacant WBA light middleweight title fight to the great Mike McCallum. McCallum went on to become a modern master, a ring genius, avoided by Hearns, Leonard, Duran and Hagler. Go look at the record, trust me. Sean now lives back in Ireland, as Doug alluded to there, and I'm delighted to say that Sean Mannion joins me now on the line. How are you, Sean?
All right, Steve, how are you doing?
Yeah, fantastic. Sean, you went over to America. You boxed your first time when you were 21. How young were you actually when you went over there?
I went over there first when I was 17 and a half, and I had a few amateur fights there, and I came back then because an uncle of mine died, and then I stayed back, and after my father died in 77, I went to America again. And so I stayed there then for 25 years. So.
Sean, do you regret not boxing in Ireland as a pro?
Oh, I do. I always wanted to box in Ireland as a pro. I told people I would fight for nothing, just to box in Ireland just once as a pro, because all my fights were abroad, around the United States and Canada, and other parts of Europe, but never in Ireland.
Never in Ireland. Well, you did box in a place called Belfast in the USA once, didn't you?
That's Belfast, Maine.
Yeah, Belfast, Maine. Now, Sean, I mean, Doug in Sligo, as he's known in the internet world, is a good friend of mine. He talked there about how you sparred a lot with Stevie Collins, and you're up in Boston. Did you ever spar with Hagler?
Oh, I spent about close to 3 years sparring with Hagler.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I used to go down to the Pettinelli gym. He's in Bracton, about 30 miles away from where I was in Dorchester. But I used to drive down with myself and my manager and trainer. We used to drive down there, and I worked an awful lot with Hagler and with his brother Robbie Sims. Yeah, and then like when Steve Collins came to Boston, I sparred with Steve. Like we were good buddies. Like we sparred up in Dorchester. Like
At the time, Doug. I mean, sorry, Sean. At the time, Sean, were you always working, or were you making enough from boxing to be a full-time professional, or did you always have a job somewhere?
I always had a job. I always worked in construction most of the time, like, you know, but except maybe for the last year before I fought for the title, like, you
against
know.
Mike McCullum in '84.
Yeah, but I was working up for about 6 months before, and then it was training, and then afterwards again I went back and worked, like, you know.
I tell you what, they've got it easy now, the pros, haven't they?
It's different.
It's different. I'm not saying they're any better or any worse.
No,
I'm just saying they've got it easier. That's what I mean.
Yeah, they do have it easier.
They do have it easier.
They have sponsors and everything now. Like, you know, that's not talking all day anything like that. You know, Hagler himself was in construction work when I was starting with him. Like, you know, he used to work in construction.
So before he was a champion, he was there. Now that fight with Mike McCullum is 15 rounds. McCullum beats you on points. He goes on to make about 6 defences. Then he wins the middleweight. Then he wins the light heavyweight, and he's acknowledged now as one of the greatest fighters from the last 25 years. Do you ever bump into Mike?
I met him over there in Birmingham about 5 years ago.
Okay.
And we had a good talk, and I told him I had no sparring for the fight, like, which I didn't, because I had a cut eye, my left eye was cut in. So it's funny, he said to me, "Thank God you didn't," he said, "because my life would be different." That's the words he came
That's what he said.
I don't know what he meant by that, but that's what he said to me. So, but he is a very nice person to talk to, like, you know.
He is. Now, before I let you go, I'm going to ask you about the victory the year before against the Korean guy, In-Chul Baek, who would go on to win world titles. He was unbeaten in 26. That was that was a fantastic victory back in 1983, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, actually. You know, like, I never heard of the guy before in my life, and when they offered me the fight, I said, of course I'll take it. I said, it's a good chance. He was ranked #1 in the world,
yes.
So I can't train hard. Like, I always train hard for all my fights, like, you know, and just went and do my business and took care of business.
You certainly did. Sean, what are you up to these days?
Well, I was working in construction until recently, but just the economy here has gone to hell.
Yeah.
But I'm training 2 fighters. I'm training a guy from Mayo, Michael Sweeney. He's a light heavyweight.
Oh yeah, he's boxing soon, isn't he?
He's boxing in the May 15th.
Yeah, that's not on the Limerick show. I've got Andy Lee coming on in a moment, yeah.
Yeah, and he's fighting. And then I have another guy, actually, born and raised in England.
Yep.
From Yorkshire, John Fogg. John Fogg is his name. And he's a good boxer. I didn't get him a fight yet, so I'm looking around for fights.
Still looking around.
He's a great shit.
Well, listen, Sean, it's been a pleasure talking to you tonight and getting Doug on a little bit beforehand to share his experiences with me.
By the way, that fight, my fight with McCallum, was shown live in Ireland.
It was shown live in Ireland. We weren't sure.
2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, fantastic. Listen, Sean, it's been a pleasure. I'll speak to you very soon. Hopefully I'll see you.
Thanks a minute, Steve.
No, thank you. Sean Mannion there, a boxer from the old school. You heard him spending 3 years sparring with Marvin Hagler at Brockton, and both of them at the time building up to fighting for world titles, and both of them construction workers, one an Irish immigrant and one a bald-headed and ferocious black man. Both of them out of place, both of them finding a place inside the boxing ring. The Texan